Hey guys, my name is Scoby and welcome back to another video. Today, I bought a PS4 Pro right before the PlayStation 5 is about to release. Why? How does it perform against the normal PS4? And is it still worth it in 2020? Let's talk about this. So let me defend myself before we get too far into this and everyone's screaming at me like, why did you buy a PS4 Pro? Well, there's one simple reason I bought a PS4 Pro. It was cheap and I got it secondhand. So basically I was able to sell my normal PS4 and use about €50 to upgrade to a PS4 Pro, which had double the storage and could now output 4K. So for me, it made sense for a couple weeks to a couple months, as I've had this for a little bit of time now, to actually play around with it and see how it compared to a normal PS4. I've also got a lot of gameplay that I'm going to be comparing later in the video, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about how both consoles perform and if it's worth picking up a PS4, especially if you're not going to be picking up a PS5 for a couple of years or a couple of months after, which for some people I would almost recommend, especially because a lot of the newer games are going to be coming out on both the PS4 and the PS5 for at least another year or two, I would imagine. So you're not really losing anything by sticking on the older generation, apart from some graphics, but a lot of your games will actually jump over and be able to be upgraded on the PS5 once that comes out. So I will be looking at it again more closely against the PS4 Pro and the PS5 once that comes out, as I will be getting a PS5. But for the moment, we're only going to be talking about the PS4 and the PS4 Pro. So first, maybe let's talk about build quality and actual looks. So for the most part, the standard PS4 and the PS4 Pro actually look really similar, apart from the PS4 Pro has one extra level of housing on top, making two diagonal cuts instead of one. But apart from this, the overall size and form factor is very similar. So also the build quality and just holding them, the PS4 Pro actually feels more solid in hand, which you won't be holding it very often. However, it does feel like it's built to last a little bit longer, which was a little bit shocking to me. I thought the materials would be exactly the same. However, maybe they just have a bit more inside of it, and it's the weight and overall kind of build of it that makes it feel a bit more heavy duty. Now, in terms of ports and I/O on these consoles, they are basically identical apart from two things. One, the PS4 Pro does have one extra USB port, which is a nice to have, especially if you're going to be adding extra devices. And two, the PS4 Pro does have a different power cable on the back, which is more like a traditional power supply cable that you would find on a computer and on some other devices as well. In terms of output resolutions, the standard PS4 can only output up to 1080p 60, while the PS4 Pro can output up to 4K 60. Now, I will put a small asterisk here. Not all or even most games will actually be played at native 4K. However, they will be upscaled and output on a TV to 4K, so they will look a little bit sharper. And again, we'll be looking at some visuals and games a little bit later on to see exactly how they compare with the 1080p versus the 4K. Now, in terms of specifications, both the PS4 and the PS4 Pro both have 8-core processors. However, the PS4 Pro is clocked a little bit higher at 2.1 GHz. In terms of the graphics card, the base PS4 has 1.84 teraflops, whereas the PS4 Pro has 4.2 teraflops. Now, that doesn't mean it's kind of double to triple the performance. However, it does have a lot more power there under the hood to work with, so it means it can output to higher resolutions and perform a little bit better in games using PS4 boost mode, which you can see on the back of a lot of game cases to show that it can run at higher resolutions, frame rates, or higher resolutions and frame rates. So all of the PS4s have 8 GB of memory. However, the PS4 Pro does also have an additional 1 GB of memory that it can use to be able to output to these higher resolutions. Now, all of the PS4s can output HDR. However, only the PS4 Pro can output to 4K, as I mentioned a little bit earlier in the video, and it can also do 4K and HDR at the same time, which is especially nice for Netflix, Disney+, YouTube, and different apps like that. The Wi-Fi on all the PS4 seems to be exactly the same, and apparently the PS4, the 2013 model, has Bluetooth 2.0, whereas both the PS4 and PS4 Pro, the newer versions, seem to have Bluetooth 4.0. So now that we have the tech specs talked about, let's take a look at the actual consoles themselves, see how the resolution, textures, and frame rates compare, and then we'll kind of give a final verdict on if it's really worth upgrading. Now, because this video is shot in 4K and my face cam here with my camera is also in 4K, base PS4 is only going to be recorded in 1080p, so I will have to scale it up to be able to fit into a 4K frame, so we will be losing some quality there as well. So just keep that in mind. It will look a little bit worse just based on the video resolution itself, so that's something to keep in mind as well.
For their hot, fresh cup of bodily harm. gotta warn you, I'm feeling punchy today. Next comes.
Give it a spin. Okay, let's see if these new Versa bulbs work. Look up. Do you see something flashing?
Yep, left side looks good.
It's a miracle. Onto the afterburner light.
Lower left afterburner.
Ratchet bashed his enemies using his trusty Omni Wrench. In order to best his foes, Ratchet used the warrior's time-honored tradition of jumping. Ratchet knew he faced mortal peril.
Great. Fuck.
How the hell they find us out here?
These guys have been tailing me for weeks. Thought I lost them.
So what'd you do to piss them off?
It's kind of a long story.
These guys don't like you much, do they?
Less talking, more shooting. Hurry up, Sully.
So as you can see, the overall quality between the PS4 and the PS4 Pro is not a crazy leap in performance. However, some textures and some resolutions just look a little bit sharper and a little bit more detailed, and in some environments we get a little bit more kind of grassy textures and view distance. However, for me, the really big deal is actually the frame rates. As we can see in a lot of the new games, especially Tony Hawk's and Crash Bandicoot 4, just the overall frame rate and smoothness of the experience is a lot better. So if you're looking to keep the PS4 for a little bit longer, maybe try sell your current PS4 and just upgrade to a Pro. Hold on to it for another year or two once the PS5 comes down in price, some more games come out and you can kind of pick up some secondhand stuff. It'll be a lot cheaper and you can still have an overall good gaming experience with the PS4 for the next year or two, I believe. It still seems to be pretty solid overall, and I still think the PS4 Pro is a decent console to keep for the next couple of years because it still outputs to 4K, so you can still watch all the 4K content you want, which is another one of the reasons I wanted to pick it up, because I think the PS5 isn't going to be available for a long time after, even though they kind of say it'll be around November. I have to imagine with this backlog and the current supply chain issues, it'll be a little bit longer till we see it and actually get it in our hands. But overall, I think they're both still great consoles. However, the PS4 is a little bit better and it's not asking too much more in price, especially considering you basically right away get double the storage, which you're definitely going to be needing, especially if you're going to be playing games like Call of Duty Modern Warfare. You're going to be eating up a lot of your storage just installing games directly onto it. But anyway guys, that's been my comparison between the PS4, PS4 Pro, and why I bought a PS4 Pro just before the PlayStation 5 is about to release. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, check out the other videos on the channel. Until next time guys, as always, keep it saucy. Peace.